Hi friends,
What's up, y'all?
let's talk food. We're all at home, we all have to eat, and no one's trying to go to the grocery store. We have simplified and taken advantage of supporting local vendors in our community. There are so many farmers market vendors and produce suppliers that are pivoting to becoming CSAs, which is community supported agriculture delivery boxes. And
Y'all,
why wouldn't you?
come on. Iron Man has a wife. Her name is...
Fruit, veggies, staples, dairy, eggs,
Everything you
everything
see
you
here.
need. We ordered this from Del Rancho Produce. They're in Southern California. I'll link them so that you can too. They offer this selection and a couple others.
They also give you some flexibility within your box to substitute.
So we made a vague meal plan once we knew it was coming, but we wanted to share with you what all we got and tell you a little bit about how we're gonna use it, and then we can cook through it all together. And before you think that I should have subbed out some of these 20 pounds of bananas, I will tell you that I chose this box specifically for the 20 pounds of bananas because David and Asher can eat 4 or 5 a day.
Some might say we are bananas for bananas.
That was a terrible joke.
Did it stay in? Asher is a fruitarian, so the fruit here is essentially just going to be eaten and consumed before it goes bad because we go through that much fruit in this house.
Easily. We have a gigantic assortment of peppers here, but I've got plans for them. I know that these ones are not as hot, so we're gonna make stuffed peppers with these, and the hotter ones are going into the stuffed pepper filling and to a turkey enchilada casserole that I'll link for you guys that we make all the time that Asher and David both love. I'm also gonna use some of these peppers with some of this fresh corn, and I'm gonna make corn and chili chowder, and that will use some of the potatoes as well. We use onions in like everything and feed Asher quesadillas perpetually. So those will get used, and that's what's gonna happen with these pinto beans back here. I make them using Smitten Kitchen recipe that I'll link for you guys. It's actually for black beans, but every bean is delicious that way. And some will go into the casserole and into quesadillas, but I'll also make some refrieds for Ash. We've got some beautiful fresh aromas, and I don't eat fresh tomatoes. They're gross. It's a texture thing. But
It's so weird.
and I love food. But I love them cooked, and we're going to use Marcella Hazan's tomato butter sauce. It's so simple, so delicious. And we're gonna make some garlic confit, and I will probably either an
Mix
Insta or
them-
blog
mix
post
them
teach you
together.
how.
And we're gonna make that with fresh pasta ourselves. Nothing here in this produce box, but no, we just like to cook.
Yeah, we've got fresh pasta, and then that milk is going to be turned into homemade ricotta.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be dolloped on that fresh pasta. It's gonna be dolloped onto the pizza that we make, because we make homemade pizza almost every week. I'm gonna eat it on crackers, off the spoon with some spicy honey, hide in the corner with it, you don't even know.
If you have a cheesecloth, homemade ricotta is so easy to make, and it's so good. So good.
If you hear this and you're like, ew, ricotta is disgusting, it's because you've only ever had store-bought ricotta. Make some, and then come back and talk to me about this. We've been making all of our own bread and stuff here lately. I'm gonna use some eggs and make some challah and spend some time doing that. I've been into focaccia lately, but
Holla, 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 holla.
holla at your girl.
Yeah, that's most of it. We've got some Merlaton or KOT and some other things that we don't have specific plans for because we just got this and made a quick plan. So we're gonna get cooking over this week, and
I'm gonna hang out with those cookbooks.
we'll see how we do. I'm not a big stuffed pepper guy, but I like these.
I'm glad. I think it's because they're pretty much enchilada casserole, and you love enchilada casserole, and I just shoved them into peppers. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. When we first got our groceries, I was raving about how we were going to do this enchilada casserole that I make all the time, and I wound up not having any turkey and not having any quinoa, so I didn't. Instead, I used the pinto beans and rice and onions, and I'll link this recipe for y'all, and homemade enchilada sauce, and kind of was vaguely inspired, and then stuffed it into peppers. I will say that we had more peppers than we anticipated having once we got down to the nitty-gritty of it. And so
We were really overwhelmed, but then I realized that I'm sitting next to a trendy girl.
Y'all, we made some pepper sauce. It is fire. It's my family's recipe, so I can't tell you all the secrets. My Auntie Sandra will come after me. I had to do some bribing to get it out of her. But we used the serranos and the jalapenos.
A few Anaheims.
We used a few Anaheims for flavor, and it's a couple kinds of vinegar and salt and garlic and lime, and that's pretty much pepper sauce.
And it's really fresh and fragrant and like spicy. So it's unlike any kind of pepper sauce I've ever had.
Y'all, it's a fusion, just like me.
Mm-hmm.
And we made a big batch of it, so I'm gonna share some with some friends. This little goes a long way. We also used some of the peppers, the jalapenos and serranos got roasted and diced like we talked about, and they went into some delicious cornbread with blueberries. And then I also, what else did we do with those?
So when I'm making quesadillas for the family, I'll roast a serrano and put that in our quesadilla, put it on nachos. The big stack of corn tortillas they gave us, we broke up into little nacho bites and air fried them and then made them into nachos.
Y'all will remember that there was a big old stack of pinto beans. I made those. They're scrum. There's some pintos tucked in here. There are pintos in my belly from quesadillas for lunch yesterday. There are lots of pintos in Asher's belly because that kid loves a bean and eats half a jar of them cold for lunch.
But you made them basic. No, you made them differently. You made them not like your black beans. Tell them how you made them. I don't know.
I used my friend Barrett's suggestions, and I will link them for you here. And she just does a really simple, savory, stovetop pinto bean, and it was really brothy and delicious. I also read my mouth earlier about how I was gonna make a corn and potato chowder and chili. Yeah, it's like 95 damn degrees. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. What we did instead is we sauteed the corn and the Merleton squash and the Mexican squash, and David diced it up all.
If y'all have ever heard of a corn mashu, corn, onions, and tomatoes, we essentially subbed out the tomato for diced Merleton, and it was just like a white corn mashu.
It's crispier than most any other squash.
Yeah, I
a pear.
It does remind me of a pear. It's like if a pear and a jicama had a baby.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what that is. It kind of looks like it.
As far as all that fruit, we railed through it. I believe we had 6 kind of brownish bananas left. After probably two more as is, and I'll make a batch of muffins with the last. But I'm gonna need more banana soup. Oh, and I had fibbed to y'all about the tomatoes. How dare we? I told y'all I was gonna make Marcella Hassan's tomato butter sauce, but I wasn't paying that much attention because that's made with canned tomatoes, and obviously I had all those delicious fresh ones. So again, I took some inspiration in other ways to make it out. But I halved the aromas, and I packed them into this pan, cut sides down with a little Italian seasoning and some garlic cloves and like a quartered onion, and I roasted it just until we started to get brown bits on everything and it looked juicy. And then y'all, it was real complicated. I threw it in the blender, hit the button, and it was done. I am not a bragger. That is not who I am as a person. Like I do not brag about myself. Like that is not a thing.
That's true. She lets me do it.
Yeah, I do not brag on myself. I would like to get on my high horse and go for a gallop and tell y'all how good that ricotta cheese I made was. Because it was so good. It was so good on pasta. Asher's been eating it by the spoonful, and now he says cheese and ass squared. So cute. It is so cute. Before we got this box, we were making the same 10 things out of our same 10 pantry staples, and honestly, I was getting really sick of homemade pizza and the same quesadillas with black beans and the same things like that we had on a rotation. We're ordering produce boxes for bi-weekly delivery. When I cook like this, I only know how to cook in a vat full size, which has been beneficial in this case because it means that everything gets frozen in portion sizes, which means you don't gotta cook it again later. A couple nights ago, we just pulled out the last of the roasted tomato sauce and dolloped it right on pasta, and it was like, cool, dinner's ready in 10 minutes, and it only dirtied 2 pots.
When you are well prepared and have put the work in ahead of time.
Leftovers bomb. That's what we're trying to do. Like, it would be great if we could eat out all the time and we miss all of those exciting things, but that's not how this cookie's gonna crumble, so we need to be making exciting things to eat at home. How are you getting your groceries these days? That's really what I want to know about. Are you still going to the store? Are you getting them delivered?
We're always trying to cook new things. Shoot us a comment. Tell us what you're making. Tell us how to make it.
Can I please request additional squash recipes? Because I used all of them.
See y'all next week.
You stealing a bean?
No.
Mm-hmm.